You see, this barrister will handle Mazen and the Kanu case don't finally contour the truth. One thing about this life be say, nothing is hidden under the sun. You know, finally, they can't even talk things where they happen for DOS. Can't even expose wetin make Mazen and the Kanu sack am. Because one thing for sure is that anybody will try to tamper with Mazen and the Kanu, no. Is somebody will be say in the vigilant, in the observant. I'm not go just talk much. I go allow you may just listen to yourself. Everything will be say this man don't talk. The truth will be say in the expose and waiting government don't even tell him. We make him Mazen and the Kanu find out the wuru things will be saying they do. So it's important for you to share this video right now to everyone on every social media platform. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. Share this video so that everybody go see the truth behind everything where they go on. Finally, don't talk the truth will make Mazen and the Kanu take Sakam. And Mazen and the Kanu no the tolerate nonsense. Share this video right now. Now the only one that fit take encourage supporters. Thank you.
Wonders shall never end, they say. So finally, Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor has come out to tell us the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu sacked him as his lawyer. And not only that, he went ahead to, expose a lot of things, a lot of wuru, a lot of funny things going on in Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's case. Not only that, he went ahead to expose a lot of things happening in DOS. DOS. Hey, you no get wetin my ear no go hear. God, I beg you. Please, I beg you to spend just a little time and listen to him because he has exposed it as it is. Please listen to him, then you drop your comment in the comment section, please, what to think.
Thank you very much, sir. Like you said, we now know that you are his lawyer 2015 to 2016. Within this period, that was when he was first arrested. That's the period of his first incarceration.
That was he was brought in here 2014. First incarceration was 2014.
Okay.
So, and already in court formally December 2015.
Okay.
No, yes, so.
Okay, so you were the lawyer that represented him?
Yes.
Okay, within that period. And then you get...
He was brought in here 2015, not 2014.
Okay.
Then already in court in December 2015. That's not 2014, yes, sir.
Okay.
So we came into the matter. I wasn't the first lawyer that appeared in the matter. It was all better. We came into the matter 2015. Then our representation was formalized in 2016 January.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, how did the first case you did for Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, you won that case for Mazen Nnamdi Kanu?
When he was arrested in 2015 and consequently arraigned into that December 2015, that should be on 3-count charge. So we did the matter until he was granted bail. Of course, severally we applied for his bail, which was refused. And before he was granted bail in 2017. So at that point, they were charged. Then they amended the charge of brought in Benjamin Madbo, Bright Shimeze, Chidebere Omudiwe, and David Mawisi. So he was first granted bail on April 2017. Subsequent after that, we followed up and applied for bail for the remaining defendants, which was also granted by the court. Okay. And condition perfected by us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, for how long did you represent him? I mean, in between that 2015 till this, for how long?
No, actively we are his lawyer from 2015 December till December 2023 when we left the team.
Okay, when you left the team.
Yeah.
Now, what was your relationship with him like?
No, it was just a client-lawyer relationship, and then apart from the fact that the matter was handled pro bono exclusively, and in view of the fact that the subject matter borders on Igbo cause, so we are committed to the case. We are committed to the case, and diligently prosecuted the defense to ensure that he was released and get the charge struck out.
Okay. Were you representing only Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, or you were also representing IPOB?
No, effectively, we were appointed. I was appointed by Nnamdi Kanu as lawyer, January 2016, formalized. I have a notice of effect. Okay. Then, subsequent after he was granted bail, then IPOB as a body, as an institution, appointed me as a lawyer. In that letter, it was signed by Nnamdi Kanu, letter of instruction, signed by Ejiofor and the HOD, which she gets them today. So I have the letter today. So I was a lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, then continued to be lawyer to IPOB until when the instruction, there's no counter to that first date. Thank you.
Now, talking about Chikedozim, you said Chikedozim was the HOD.
No, I said at the time the IPOB as an institution formalized my appointment as a lawyer, it was signed by 3 persons. The instruction, the instruction for the legal resolution was signed by 3 persons. Nnamdi Kanu as the leader of IPOB, Ejiofor as the deputy leader, and the Mazi Chike as head of directorate.
Oh, Chike has been head of directorate.
Of course.
Since 2016.
Of course.
Oh, so what is this? Okay, that's not why we are here. So because the way they are attacking Chike, one would think that he just came to
IPOB. Yes, it's 2016. They're effectively there.
Okay, which means they already have their code of conduct. They're already functioning as an organization with various units and executive.
Sure.
Okay,
sure, of course.
Okay. Now, throughout your representation of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB from 2015, when you were defending him, what was your relationship with his siblings like? Because these accusations and counter accusation sadly is coming from his siblings. Who, in my own opinion,
let me just quickly address this because for want of time. Lord, right from 2015 when he came into the matter, it was a war between us and the siblings. Many people may have forgotten that at some point his siblings made publication then.
And that's 2015?
Yes, of course. Accusing the wife of hijacking the case because we are appointed by the wife. Actually, we were introduced into the case by the wife.
Okay.
So, and stating publicly that the wife is not Nnamdi Kanu's wife. They disown her because of the appointment at the point. So, our problem then started from that time. And eventually, we were the people that secured his bail at the point. We were the team that secured his bail that April 2017.
Now, what is...
And they not stop from attacking us.
Okay. What is the position of Nnamdi Kanu's siblings in IPOB?
Well, I can't just define because I'm not involved in an administrative affairs of IPOB. But I know they are not part of the executive of IPOB, to my knowledge. So, and I don't think they have any influence in the decision making of IPOB as an institution.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so they are not... They do not hold any position, any leadership position in IPOB.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now, so that means you were still his lawyer as at the time he was renditioned.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. How did you get to hear about his arrest in Kenya? Did you at any time hear from him or heard that he was kidnapped or arrested in Kenya?
You know, shortly before he was abducted in Kenya, then that was 2021, especially in June. My house was invaded on 6th of June. So by the security agencies, during the period my DPA was assassinated and burnt.
Now,
so at that point in time, I didn't have to hear from him. So it was a few weeks after that time I got to hear about his abduction. I saw it on television because I was called by the press to inquire about the whereabouts of my client. I never knew at the point they were calling me. He was being taken to court around that day.
Okay, so, even while he was arrested in Kenya, you are not aware he was arrested.
Nobody told me.
Did anybody within the IPOB family, within his family, aware of his arrest in Kenya?
Not to my knowledge, because at some point when they stopped hearing from him, they were making contacts to ascertain his whereabouts. At some point, they even called me at that time. So, and I said I've not heard from him in a long while. So, and they were making inquiries, calling people to confirm whether anybody had heard from him. So, and I didn't hear from him.
Okay, there were allegations that his younger brother, Kanu, and some of his family members.
It's not an allegation, that's a fact, because there was a publication made by Kanu at the time, because we eventually come to realize that at the time he made this publication on social media, that it was in the hands of the security agents that abducted in Kenya. So, stating that he has gone to mountain, Nnamdi Kanu has gone to mountain to pray, that nobody should bother to ask him about his whereabouts. Are you with me?
Okay.
So, at the time he was making this publication, he was in the hands of the enemies at the point, and the security agents at the time. So, obviously, he was aware of his whereabouts, and also was also aware of his travel at the time.
Okay. So, in other words, Kanu was aware that Kanu was arrested in Kenya.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make this. I'm trying to make a comparison between Kanu's arrest and Sunday Igboho. When Sunday Igboho was arrested in Cotonou, right? The Nigerian government were trying to rendition him to Nigeria, but it was his lawyers were able to stop them from renditioning him to Nigeria. So he was able to face trial in Cotonou. Now, in other words, if maybe they have open door about this arrest, probably is it possible that it could be stopped if effort is made? There may be a chance that Nigerian government will be stopped from rendition.
It's possible that if they have raised alarm at the point he was abducted in Kenya, there may be an intervening law, international law, that will stop them from bringing him to Nigeria, because everything was done discreetly. So, and they kept it secret. So that was why it was effectively rendition to Nigeria, obviously.
Okay, now there were accusations that you betrayed him. Now, that's why we are here. These are part of the things, accusations we've been seeing on social media. Now, I want everybody listening to us here to see this not an attack. You can see all these things. None were initiated by Martin Nnamdi Kanu. This is Martin Nnamdi Kanu's private life. But his siblings and those that believe that they are too loyal to him thought it wise to bring it to the public domain, exposing their brothers' private lives, exposing their leaders' private lives, just because they want to blackmail people.
Well, when we say this thing, I will need to at this point in time to make some clarifications and respect to the issue raised about trial. This is a person who has shown so much inimaginable commitment to this case. On account of my exposure to the case, I was attacked severally. And my life today is by the grace of God. So I do not know any other way I will show concern or commit to this case. My house was invaded 2019, people were killed, bombed. 2021, my house was the second time invaded. I was attacked, and in all this, God saved me. Then when he was brought in here, at the point it was when I was recovering from the invasion of my house. That was towards 2021 June, specifically. So that was when he was brought in. Then my lawyer went to see him, and also the other lawyers. In fact, let me make this clarification also. At the time they visited him, because I had people calling Ejiofor, it was not like Ejiofor specifically that they gave instruction to make a communication to Simon Eba to broadcast on Ejiofor, not me. But at the point in time, I've not seen him.
Okay, we'll come to that.
Now I'm coming. Let me make this right. Let me finish. So we prosecuted this matter, right? We took over the defense in 2021 when he was brought in. Then, in the course of this matter, he now told me that he wants to involve some senior rockets. Especially mentioned Chief Michael Secom yesterday. Then I said, okay, no problem. He was the person that recommended it. And I said, okay. He now instructed me and then I got to reach out to Secom. We reached out to Secom. So he now asked us to wait, to give him about we should give him about a few months to think about the case, and revert to us. It was December that eventually made up his mind to be part of the team. That was December 2020. So I asked him what to do. Made up his mind to be part of the team. That was 2020 December. Then we visited him, and they have an understanding. I'll come to that later. So we took up the defense. Out of 15 count charge, amended charge we filed against him, we got 7 struck out at the point. Then the court returned 8. We said no, we want to go to appeal. And on appeal, we got under the leadership of the SIN. We got the entire charge. The charge struck out. He was consequently discharged and acquitted. Not only that, the court forbid the federal government in the ruling from further prosecuting him in the final court.
Wow, hold on, please, hold on.
Yes, please.
I wanted us to check this one after the other, but since now, are you saying that in the ruling you got,
judgment, not ruling,
the judgment you got for Martin Nnamdi Kanu after going through? Now, let's start from High Court. The Federal High Court. Okay, what happened at the Federal High Court? Because I think this is the bone of contention. What happened at the Federal High Court?
When he was brought in 2021, there was an amendment to the charge, to the substance charge.
No, so, okay, there was, the former charge, he went to court.
Yeah.
So now, they now brought up the 2015 court case.
They effected a fundamental amendment to the substance charge at the time.
Oh, okay. Kanu was still undergoing trial.
Yes, before he was there.
Before he now left.
Yes, left here.
Okay, so when he came back, they continued.
But what they did was to amend the charge to enlarge it to 15 count charge.
Okay.
They accommodate new charges, infractions.
Yeah. Be using small English so that people will understand.
To accommodate new probably
charges.
Alleged offenses.
Okay.
Then it's now they brought up to 15 count charge. So in view of our approach, we after going through the charge, we discovered a fundamental error. Right? We now filed an objection to the charge. But before the introduction of the matter, I've already filed an objection to the charge. Before he came, we now crossed T's and dotted I's, then filed a fresh amendment, a fresh objection to the charge under his leadership. Before the court ruled on it, struck out 7 count charge out of 15, remaining 8. They will now say no, went on appeal to
the judgment now, in the judgment you got from High Court, the ruling you got, the ruling is not judgment.
It's not judgment.
Okay, ruling is different from judgment.
Yes.
So what's the difference? Sorry.
The ruling per se is a preliminary decision. It's not a conclusive.
Okay, but judgment is conclusive.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, it's good we understand that What you got from appeal court, from high court is ruling.
Yeah.
Now
because the court returned 8 count charge for him to face trial on that 8 count charge.
Okay.
So now went to court of appeal
to challenge
the remaining 8 count charge.
Good.
Yes,
okay, in that 8 count charge, you now got him discharged and acquitted.
And not only that, the court forbade the federal government from prosecuting him again.
Now, oh my goodness, you mean in the judgment you got?
Yes.
The court of appeal forbid the federal government from trying him again. Good. Now, what was your relationship with his siblings like in this second trial?
I've not had a robust relationship with siblings, but they've always been against me.
So what is now? If you are doing well, no, number one, you were the first lawyer that got their brother bail. You got him bail in 2016, right?
Yes.
Good. Which means you are doing well. So you were supposed to be good. You know, when you do this work and you get this bail and discharged and acquitted easily, it's as if it's easy. Now, in this second one again, you were doing well because we were following.
Yes.
And we know that we are hearing good news. You know, every day you go to court, it was on television and I used to see you. You will come and address the press.
Well, the point is that these guys are not on the same pedestal with you. They have a different agenda from the case. They are,
okay.
Right from time, is afraid. We discovered in the course of time that obviously they found the case as a money-making venture.
Okay.
And of course, you know I cannot parley with that kind of
okay, they want you to they want to bend you to listen to them. They want to have control of the case. Now, and you said in 2015 they were attacking their brother's wife. That's Nnamdi Kanu's wife. That the point is that they say she hijacked the case.
They were attacking her because she introduced me.
Okay.
Yes. They were against my introduction in the case.
Okay.
They attacked her publicly. They made newspaper publication. Not only attack, they even issued precedent to that effect. Displaying her.
But this is family.
Yeah.
Do they even have now? My worry is people that will come here and attack people that you are talking about as Nnamdi Kanu. While his siblings will bring out private matters, personal matters, family matters. They will run to the press. Even their brother's wife. I've read where they called her prostitute. I've read where they called her all manner of name. Now, when you want to come for the defense, they will run and hide behind Nnamdi Kanu. And then the next thing you will hear is, you are attacking Nnamdi Kanu. You are disrespecting Nnamdi Kanu. And that is why we are here today. You can't continue to bully people on social media and think that because you are Nnamdi Kanu's siblings, people will keep quiet and tolerate. And then, these actions is affecting all of us. Because we know how important Nnamdi Kanu is to Ndigo. And that is why we are doing this. So that either they back off or, we should take a decision. A lot of people died because of their mistakes. Now, moving forward, Barrister, even, okay, let's assume they felt you are not good enough. Now, when you got him bail, when you after your push and you did all these things you used to do, he was granted bail. Yes. Is that not enough to know that you are competent? Their interest should be their brother. Now, why do they continue the fight to attack you that is doing so well? Because for me, to see a good lawyer is difficult. So when you now get a good one, now you've already explained it. You said the interest is money. Probably they want you to be under their control so that they can manipulate you to do whatever they want. Now, again, let us come back to the very interesting part of it, which is, you said, while you were defending Nnamdi Kanu, the federal government amended the charges to 15 count charges, right? You quashed 8, remaining 7. Good. And that's progress.
Yeah.
At that point, were they still attacking you?
They started attacking me from 2015 to date. Even at this moment, they started attacking me.
Because I saw a letter, Kanu wrote, I think it's a petition against you to Nigerian Bar Association.
Let me just say this thing at this point. I do not want to dwell much on the heinous activities of Nnamdi Kanu's siblings. Because apparently that may have been led to the situation they found themselves today. Are you with me?
We need to. That is even the most.
The point is that, you see, there's a limit to which you cannot manipulate the nation. Right? My involvement in the case is divinely ordained. And I thank God that I am still alive today because of God, because for His grace, because of mercy. They have done all they could to eliminate the person sitting beside you today. But God said no, including from those who are calling them the counselors. So the issue of attacking me publicly on social media is even a non-issue because they've gone far beyond that part. Then, however, and I never knew about this. I never knew about these plans and this conspiracy until we said it. That was when I came to get information about inciting the plan against me and how all of them fell. What I'm telling you today is in the operation of intelligence community. Because all communications they made against me on how to assassinate me is before them. Yes.
Now, because
this is when we are actively involved in this case. We are actively involved. The letter you're talking about, someone anchored it. I don't know what that. Someone anchored it. Because they were not alone. It was a conspiracy among them. What was the report of the letter to? Because they made affidavits of facts. We got the judgment before the court of appeal. Then the federal government filed an application for stay. Procedurally, we're going to challenge it. We'll file a motion to set aside the motion for stay. Promptly, tirelessly. And the affidavit are supposed to. It shouldn't be a subject of public discussion.
Exactly. Now, my worry is no, Barrister. Do you know why I'm doing this? My worry is this attacking people publicly. Something that is should be your brother's private life. Now you will now attack it, accuse people, try to demonize people. Now when people try to defend themselves, it is termed an insult or attack on Nnamdi Kanu, because they knew this is trying to manipulate or use their brother's incarceration for their own benefit and then manipulating people because of the respect they have with Nnamdi.
That is the case now.
Now, yeah, that is what I'm trying to. That is the point I'm trying to make, because I've gone close to them. I now realize that they are taking advantage of their brother's incarceration to enrich themselves, which they knew is bad. When you come close to them, either you go with them. If they see that is why I'm being attacked, if they see that you are not going their way, maybe the way they will want to control you. Once they see that you are not buying that, they will start blackmail.
Okay, let me say this to you. I've, after his commission, I made a public statement, which I believe I don't want to go into that. Shortly before, after the Supreme Court judgment, let me use this opportunity to make this in public because I've written about it in passing. There was a discussion about the list. I don't want to go into detail about it. And because you see, when certain discussions were going on, you have to manage. Somebody is asking, I would like you to respond. Why didn't you take him to home when you got discharged and acquitted? These are not that is the area they we'll come back there. We'll come back there. Obviously, this part of course we are not lawyers. Like I said. So I'm making a point. I don't know where I stopped. When we came back from Supreme Court, I mean Supreme Court. I didn't to get him. Oh, you went to as far as Supreme Court? Of course, and they went to Supreme Court with them. So when we came back, I didn't to get him out was probably at the concluding stage. Wow. But they were not on the law. Lawyer, the law. No, I want to tell you. I want to tell you. You are running fast. I want people to follow us and get the gist. So I have limited time to stay. Okay, wait, please. We need to do this. Okay. Now, you got him discharged and acquitted from Supreme Court. Even at that, his siblings were still attacking you. That's aside. Now, when you got him discharged and acquitted, what happened? Why didn't the federal government release him? Okay, now. Okay, they filed an appeal against him to the Supreme Court. The appeal was filed. When that judgment was delivered, we wrote to AG Federation at the time and BGSSS for them to comply immediately with the judgment of the court. And that judgment was not handed on the date it was delivered. It took about 2 to 3 days before it was handed over to us. So now, immediately we got the judgment. Because as soon as we wrote to federal government, to AG Federation, the president and also the DGSSS to get him to release him to comply with the judgment, we also initiated a contempt proceedings against them. Simultaneously, this took place within 24 to 48 hours. I have the records with me. So when this was going on, even before the judgment was listed, or they filed application for stay on a Friday. Okay, government themselves filed application for stay. Yeah, when they saw this heat coming, when they were served these processes, so they filed application for stay on a Friday. Then, of course, when that application before the court to hear and dispose of it before taking first step. So we now come back. We'll file a motion to get. We'll counter it. Right? We'll file a counter to that application, which has actually affected the status of the case. It was hard in the merit and within delivered. Then we now went to Supreme Court. Now, what was included? Well, the court said stay the execution of the judgment. Okay, they granted the stay. Now, because for the benefit. I'm coming. Because the decision of the court at that point is within the court discretion.
Yes.
You don't need to fight the court. You don't need to fight the judge. You don't need to condemn the judge. Justices. What you do need to do is to follow the later judicial process.
Mm-hmm.
We will cross appeal against that ruling. Sure. We will cross appeal against the decision of the court of appeal. During the court of appeal, we will cross appeal against it. So then we now want to go to Supreme Court. So I can't go to SSS and say, I want him to be released to me and start fighting the S officials.
No, it's not.
This
is not the first time the federal government is denying release of someone that was granted bail. They've done it to even big politicians. You know, MFL today, how many times have they granted him bail and they refused to? Now, when you got to Supreme Court, what happened? What happened in Supreme Court?
Well, in Supreme Court, they allowed the appeal, and directly they should go back to face trial before the federal court.
Okay.
Then we had a decision. We had a meeting among the legal team, me and Mr. Coleman and other people, in exclusion of other people who obviously are distracted. So we developed a template. Our understanding was that you will not face trial, you will not submit yourself for trial.
Okay. So now the understanding you had.
Allow me to make clarification. That's affecting the flow of my speech.
Okay.
So we took a decision that not submit yourself for trial. Then to explore other options of getting him out. And at that point in time, there was no understanding to get him out. There was right understanding to get him to free him. I can say that protectively to you. The document can also confirm that to you. Then, in our discussion, because where he was being detained, when we usually conduct meeting with him, he's fully booked. There are certain things you don't need to step to him. But I now made it to understand that there are movements going on. And obviously, because he always discussing with the brothers, he always confiding them. So as soon as the brothers got an inkling about the plans to get him out, decided that was when they went up there, said we were fact, and then convinced him to disengage with the economy.
Okay.
Are you with me? So thinking that the understanding we are trying to reach at a point, right? That as soon as we get to federal high court, then we'll be freed.
Okay.
You see, the bias when you're not able to use.
Now, but there's no problem.
As soon as they move there,
okay, they want to.
Yeah, they want to.
Double cross and claim the victory.
As soon as they got there, they started making application. When they applied for bail, it was thrown out. Because they were not part of the discussion, they were not part of the understanding, they don't know what to discuss. So, and that was what exposed the case to where we are today. Where they are today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. People are complaining, they said I'm interrupting you. That's to flow. So now, a team, obviously you and you and Ozokome and your team did wonderfully well, because I know there are also treason charges against him too.
Yeah, they were amended.
Okay, now, is it Mazi that sacked Ozokeme himself?
Well, what happened was that there was a lot of blackmail, a lot of conspiracy going on. As I told you, there was also a kind of a plan to ensure that they hijack the process. So after the meeting, they held together, and now they never consulted me. Are you hearing me? I wanted to disengage the government. So we came on the meeting, because before then, it was all over the news. The brother has been boasting all over the places that Ozokome is gone, Ejiofor is gone. So when we visited him that day, then we have to, Ozokome was forced to see him. So he told Ozokome that he's no longer interested in having anybody defend him. So he disengaged him. So when I came in, he now told me that he disengaged Ozokome. I now said to him that, why didn't you consult me at the point of taking this decision? Because I know the consequence of the action of that decision.
Yeah.
So I said, why didn't you consult me at the time of taking the decision that we want to disengage Ozokome? And I said, by virtue of that decision, I am no longer part of this thing.
Okay, you actually resigned.
That was the day, yes, I said I'm no longer part of this thing. That I'm done.
Not that you were sacked.
I wasn't sacked. No.
So you resigned because of the way Ozokome was
disengaged Ozokome. It's honorable.
Okay. Okay, you've answered it. It's like you've taken me on a ride. You've answered most of the, questions. Now, to set the record straight, which is why I wanted people to hear your own side of the story, to hear from the horse's mouth. In other words, Nnamdi would have been a free man today if his siblings
as far as 2024, yeah, sure.
Okay, as far back as 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, now going to High Court. How did you view the defense team that defended Nnamdi? How did they get him convicted? Because I said two things. Either your lawyer will destroy your case, even if you have a good case. Your lawyer will make it to be a bad case. Sometimes you will have a bad case. If you have a good lawyer, it can be a good case. Now, it can be a good case. Now, if you are on document from the High Court to Court of Appeal to Supreme Court.
Let me just simply say this without probably going into the merit, otherwise, I mean the nature of defense team, or probably the kind of hunting. The fact is clear. See, one thing, I've discussed this issue of conviction in my write-up, but in a summary, you see, the point is that he was ostensibly right under the misleading impression of show me the law, as propounded by his handlers. When I mean handlers, I mean the content creators who are his legal consultants, prioritizing the content creation. That was what led to the instruction that led to where they are today. Okay. Because the point is that when people have agreed to subject yourself to trial, this what they should do. When you have agreed to subject yourself to trial, the ideal thing for you to do is to defend your case.
Because you submitted yourself. You were saying that we are not submitting ourselves to trial. Because you know it's a trial.
Let me say it here unequivocally. The judge is not to be blamed. Because the judge is helpless. He gave you every opportunity to defend yourself. But they were acting on a very dangerous and wrong impression of children in the law. So, and obviously prioritizing their content creation, of course, right? Having agreed to submit yourself to trial, right? You were expected to defend yourself. None of the charges was defended, no. And the judge called your attention to the consequence of the actions. Are you with me? So, and he was misled. I don't know what I was saying, he was misled or better he misled himself. Right? Because you have to. And he got the best of brands of rights. The likes of the Kanu BSM, the likes of MK TVSM, the likes of Ibas, these are powerful, erudite members of the NABA. You have done damage to this case and helped him. But the fact is that I don't know who advised him. I don't know.
No, but what I'm saying is that could it be that the case has been damaged before the likes of IKP and the
no, I said regardless of the strength or nature of the case, offense involved, or evidence against him, the fact is that he has the best of brain. He had the best of brain at the time. The likes of Kanu BSM, the likes of MK TVSM, the likes of Unyechipas SM. You know what I'm saying? These are the best of brain you can talk about in a journal session. And they are all members of the NABA, distinguished in this profession. Even if there will be conviction, if at all there will be conviction, there must be a soft landing to that effect. Okay. Right? But some persons,
it might not have been
some persons who prioritize content creation and who, in the course of the trial, disengage themselves and transform to legal advisors or legal consultant, then probably in accord with him, because he won't be clear about what he's doing, was not the point. In accord with him, decided to be talking about the concept of show me the law. Which show me the law?
Now, what is his chances? Because I know.
No, I don't want to discuss that. No, I won't discuss that.
It will be content.
No. It's a matter before the Court of Appeal. So
okay, we cannot. Okay, I would have wanted us to, because people are, for the way I understand it, it's not as easy as his followers are looking at it. It is not as easy. They think he can just walk out of that court just like that. You say you don't want to talk about it. Let me explain that. Now, about the payment, which this area again was actually what angered me and why I wanted you to explain. There were this about, you said you defended Kanu on Prophecies from 2015 till 2023, and then we begin to see payment, which I think is unnecessary, because in fact it was there that people begin to understand that Kanu was handling IPOP money alone, which his members were comfortable with that. His members were comfortable with that. So we didn't know, but his siblings, in their bid to blackmail you, actually exposed how IPOP finances were managed. But let's talk about yours. They released they said they paid you $100,000. Although I wanted to see the receipt. People were now expecting. I think you requested for the receipt. There's a show, but they will now saw a receipt of $19,000 and $10 million. $10 million naira. What happened to the $100,000 naira? The $100,000 they say they paid you.
Then let me make this clarification once again. If not for the intervention of respected senior members of the bar, by now of publicly made the transfer receipt, which I used in the meeting, the $19,000 to him, back to him, because he knew when he knew that the money was sent back to him. I have the receipt. Though the matter, because I've taken some person to court
Wait, for some again.
Yeah.
Which one did you
I
have?
got about $19,000.
When was that money paid to you?
That was 2021.
Okay,
2020, about 2020.
Okay.
So, and he asked, he now specifically requested I should send the money back, that it wasn't meant for my professional fees. And I sent it back to them. I have the receipt because of the misleading publications and falsehoods being by certain persons in social media. Obviously, who are going to the coming days or coming weeks, besides the process I filed a court against them. I have to keep it to myself. Then two, I have the instruction of Ozekomi to tell you that if anybody, that woman there, because I had wanted that, then I said, we set a trap for her.
You mean that
I paid $100,000 to Ozekomi. I had wanted her to go and publish the evidence of that payment. You know, Germany is not here. We have a standard instruction with our lawyers over there to take her up. But she was very careful, she was being very careful. You know, you see the point I need to also to emphasize here, right? The point I need to emphasize. At the point they were paying Ozekomi that peanut, which something up to $60 at the time, right? They were, she will sometime, are you with me? She will sometime fabricate transfer receipts and send to Ozekomi. Then when on investigation or verification, we discover it was fraud, they are all forged transactions. We have them today. Now, but I wanted her to publish it. But by now, she'll be going off inside the prison in Germany. She will set her for her. I'm waiting for her to make her public. That way she can't publish anything. We have records, I will show it to you. We have record of the money she gave us the comment. She paid us the comment. We shut up to 50.
So in other words, that money, that $19,000 that was paid into your account was actually paid in for you to transfer it to somewhere.
No. It was when they told me they were paying money to my account, right? It was shown by them that I paid me money on account of my professional fees.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, then maybe
please pay attention to what I'm telling you. If you pay attention, you understand something from what I'm saying. I don't want to mention somebody's name. When they said as a group they were paying me money on account of my professional fees at the time, then before the money could come to my account, Nnamdi called me and said that money is not meant for me. Nnamdi now called me and said that money is not meant for me. It was not meant for me. That it was meant for another purpose. And he sent account number, which I will show you. Account number for which the money should be sent back, remitted back, and I complied. Right? Now, the fact that they made it public now is part of their scheme, right? To cover up what they're doing. But I'm ready for them. Right? Then she has said they paid Ozekomi $100,000. Let me just say this thing. When Ozekomi came into this matter 21 December, he had a clear understanding with Nnamdi Kanu as to his deal. They had a discussion, had an understanding, document signed as to his deal. Out of which they didn't pay him up to $50,000 or $60,000. I have the documents there, I'll show it to you too. But you're waiting for Nnamdi who has been eating, who defrauded, who has been embezzling IPB money to make public his the accounts, the transfer receipts. Be waiting for her to do that. Because otherwise, by now it should be clean up somewhere. That's why she can't publish anything. I challenge her to publish something. Let her publish it.
Okay. They also claim, what about the 10 million they said they paid? I think that was on 2020.
Let me say this to you. You see, I have always been a careful person in managing these guys. These people. Listen to me a lot. Do you know when he was brought in here, Nnamdi Kanu was brought in here in 2021? And a meeting was held sometime July about or August 2021. He now said that you impanel a team of lawyers who are going to work with me. And he said they want to give them 10 million naira. I said, okay. Master Labala was there. Ejiofor was there. My head of chambers was there in a group meeting. And he said, who will he pay this money? I said, don't pay to me. And that's okay. He will give instruction for them to transfer the money to the account of my head of chambers. Right? So I can share among the lawyers. These people and their lawyers that work under them participated in sharing this money. It wasn't my fees. I thought. And that's why we have evidence of distribution of this money, which is today. We still have today. So I wanted them to come and debunk it. Now, when Benjamin wrote book, Bright Shiller said, Shiller fell on the way, and David Mabusi was granted back. There was a fund of certain amount of money, running 2 types of millions, about 40 or 50 million. Each of them was, is it 50 million? Okay, 10 million. 40 million for up to pay. I called Nnamdi and I said, look at the condition court gave. And why the court gave that condition was because of what happened in Nnamdi Kanu's case. I mean, the circumstance led to to the escape. Said no, that there must be a bond that we must fulfill. That bond we're going to pay 40 million. I called them, I notified them about the bond. Nobody could produce one there. For my own undertake, after studying applications to get money to pay for the amount. And that was all. The records there, the evidence are there. Now, my word. So, I'm telling you my level of commitment on case.
Indeed, I protested to the court in open court about the predicament of lawyers. Lawyers is the only constituency where court is the only constituency where lawyers belong. Nobody have the right to deny access to the court, even the SSS officials. They're not going to SSS.
Yeah, but you were allowed into the court at the outset.
Yes, we're in court. Of course, we're in court.
Right.
I've already packed my books, our bags. We're all inside.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to understand is, I understand the point you're making about the courtroom being a place where lawyers have, the right to go into. But whatever the circumstances, your client deserves to be represented by you, and you were in court already.
Thank you so much, my brother. You see, what happened today, I will tell people they want to know that it's just a function of something God exposing conspiracy at the highest level. I can say it with every sense of honesty. Because ordinarily, there is no court that will proceed in that circumstance without asking for them to call me in. But in this case, they proceeded to give an instruction for me to be locked out. All of us will not allow access to the court.
So was that the judge who gave the instruction?
Of course, it should be the court, because the secretary general refused me access, even in the council. Is
it because you've said that the security operatives have in the past refused access?
In this case,
I'm trying to understand whether it's the judge that said you're not to be allowed in.
In this case, let me paint this scenario to you. We're in court. Our books, we can go. Our bags were in court. We have already packed them on our tables. Then went outside to resolve issues, because last we are protesting, they were shouting, and you have to give them attention. These are people that came all the way from Aba, from Imo State, from Port Harcourt, from Enugu to be part of this team. There are more than 100 of them that were outside. Then few that came up, I need to talk to them, including that that came from US, who has been here severally. It's not in practice, and there's no law in this country that said a lawyer will not have, even if you are coming from UK, access to the court.
So in the circumstances, what are your options now?
No, the point is that what played out today, I don't think I have any regret whatsoever for it, because it's an eye-opener to us. And going forward, it is clear that not only our client, because our client also protested in open court to the court, that my lawyers are outside. And my lawyer that came from US is here protesting too. And they are talking to him, allow my lawyers to come in. So under normal circumstances, we have been allowed in. The court was okay, assuming it's the court who is impartial. As means the court is impartial. You say, please call Ejiofor for me, let me see him, and listen to him and know what's going on in the court. But in this case, they proceeded to give an order that we should not come in. So obviously, my client, by extension, the legal team, has no implicit confidence in the court to proceed with this hearing of this case. That's settled. So going forward, we are activating processes to urge my lord today and tomorrow to rescue herself from this case. So CJ will give appropriate directive to that effect. Because it's open now, even before a layman on the street. It's clear that she's partial. So now let me say this to you. This is a case, we're representing a race, not Nnamdi Kanu. This is a case involving Igbos, not Nnamdi Kanu alone. We're representing a race in this case. As sensitive, as serious as this case may be, it shouldn't have been treated with this sense of levity. We're in court. Now we're not that we're dancing. We're even at the court, saw from the camera of the court. He saw from the camera. So you have asked us to come in. If at all, she really wants us to give us opportunity to be heard. Now, that takes us back to what happened on 29th of June, when he was brought to court without us being informed about his presence in court. So it now shows that what happened in court on June 29, when he was abducted in Kenya, and consequently extraordinary rendition to Nigeria, smuggled into court on 29th of June, didn't happen by accident.
Right. Well, what I'm trying to establish really is obviously there are discrepancies and there are issues here, but whether or not the issues are due to the way the Department of State Security has handled affairs is one thing. When you make the suggestion and that the court is in cahoots with them and that there is some kind of conspiracy theory, that becomes another question. And you're of course a lawyer, so you have to be a bit circumspect in sort of the allegations that you make. But I mean, let's go beyond that and say, what's the physical condition of Nnamdi Kanu like now? Does he seem well and in reasonably good spirits under the circumstances?
Thank you very much. At last adjourned date, court made an order on the manner guideline for visiting Nnamdi Kanu. This order the court reviewed contained a condition, a requirement that 3 persons can now visit him, 3 persons of his choice. Now, we have an application we filed of late, which has been responded by the federal government. Nnamdi Kanu has not been convicted by the court. He's merely facing a trial. This application was filed pursuant to any new fresh facts emerged after the last adjourned date, because the SSS flouted the court order. They refused people who wished to visit him, including his relatives. I came all the way from Afar to visit him, access to him. We filed this application to enter the court, to inform the court that we can't continue in this manner. Are you with me? To inform the court we can't continue this manner. Now, this application is pending before the court. Nnamdi Kanu is being subjected to solitary confinement, which is clearly against the Anti-Torture Act, Section 2 precisely, of the law elephant. So, he has no access to people. You know what it means for somebody to be confined to solitary confinement? Why is daily exposed to mental torture and physical torture? You know what it means? He has access to any living object, he has access to television, access to human beings, apart from any day we are coming to visit him, if we are allowed to see him. So he hasn't been convicted. And there's a law that says a person cannot be subjected to this kind of treatment. A law in Nigeria. And we're calling on the court to activate this law. Today, this application pending before the court, we want to move it today before the court. Apart from the fact we have an objection to the empty charge they file against him. They file for frivolous charge against him. 7-count charge. We have filed a very serious application, founded on 34 grounds of objection, which was scheduled for him to be scheduled to be had today. Okay, assuming without considering to the fact that the court schedule is busy. But let me say to you and also to the world, that Nnamdi Kanu's case today is the only case on the court slate in court 2 for Federal High Court today. My Lord Honorable Justice Dako has not a case in court today, requiring her to adjourn this case to January. He has not a case today. Now, we have this objection challenging the competence of the charge to the jurisdiction of the court to hear this case, to continue to hear this case. So, and the Federal High Court, the first direction, 2013, requires day-to-day trial of persons being prosecuted by SSS. And Section 396 of the ACJL also requires day-to-day trial, assuming without considering to the fact that the court schedule is busy. The law says you must hear this case day-to-day. Why can't you adjourn it tomorrow? Why can't you adjourn it next week? Why taking the case back to January 2022?
Yes, because I was going to ask you that, I mean, I'm wondering, these lengthy delays, I mean, they're likely to hurt Nnamdi Kanu more than anyone else. He's locked up in jail. I would have thought the sooner the trial gets going, the better for him, because the impression that we had at the outset was that, you know, you walked out of court and that seemed insensitive to the situation
but
that
I
he
thought
was.
that's what we want to correct. We never walk out of court. We're in court. But you have a situation, very serious situation at hand, which we are trying to resolve. Portion to which I asked Nnamdi Kanu's junior brother, Prince Manuel Kanu, he was in court. Even when he stood up to come and call me, the court asked him to sit down. He stood up to come and call us. The court asked him, sit down. Where are you going? And Nnamdi Kanu protested that my lawyers are outside. Allow them to come in. And the court asked him, are you ready to defend yourself in this suit? In a case of this serious nation. So there's more to it than meet the eyes, of course you know.
So do you see the possibility of a negotiated settlement? I mean, out of, a way of getting Mr. Kanu out of his quagmire? Because there's been a lot of talk behind the scenes by concerned citizens from the southeast of some kind of mediated settlement.
Apparently it's not ruled out. But on our own part, we'll not go and sleep.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, we must.
You have to take the legal route.
We must ensure, I can assure of that this matter is heard this month. Obviously not by the same court. We're going to activate the machineries today and tomorrow, to ensure that this matter is assigned to our court. A more neutral court that will handle this case. Why those people who are following up from the aspect of the political resolution of the matter are doing that, I don't think we'll have any challenge, we'll have any problem with that. We are a lawyer cannot wait for them. Because in the first place, he has committed no offense unto law. If you look at the charge appears more laughable.
Right.
Than what one can be talked about. You say it's frivolous and unfounded charge. Are you with me? So, and we have effectively challenged the 7-count charge. Which first upon the more frustration.
Right.
So, and we believe more in court process.
Okay. You see, everything we don't happen for Nnamdi Kanu case. Now, something will be say will they come as a distraction. And why they always talk say, may we just try see whether we got to pray. The mere we are there, they always pray. May we just bring out, even though that Monday sit at home. May we just take them as a dedication because Nnamdi Kanu they fight for everybody. Not be saying they fight for himself. They fight for everybody. So everybody need to bring heads together. No matter the kind, in fact, anything way they serve, any God way they serve, just they pray for Nnamdi Kanu, both shrine or any place, they pray for Nnamdi Kanu. Make God just touch. In fact, so the government may they just make mistake, do one thing, we say they go release them. And also give us Biafra, because Biafra now the only ultimate thing we say everybody need. That's the only hope or happiness where everybody go get. Now that Biafra. So may we just pray for Nnamdi Kanu. Say God, make him way done. After all, the children of Israel, it take them so many years before they reach their promised land. So I don't say no be some journey with days. Well, I'm not going to just talk much. I go allow on a show on our own thoughts. Drop opinion at the comment section. Wait on I think. And don't forget to click the subscribe button. And don't forget to click right freedom for Nnamdi Kanu, freedom for the people of Biafra. Thank you.